Final question for you. You've said that you want the deal with AJ to be done by the end of Monday.
Monday is the deadline.
What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some more news concerning, yes, the new British face of heavyweight boxing, Moses Itauma. And this is what the Fight Club said about the young prodigy. He said, "Let me make this clear. As talented as Moses Itauma is, Queensberry will absolutely not rush him. They've got the golden ticket, boxing-wise. Frank Warren is a master at building a prospect up. He isn't going to risk Automa fighting the likes of Martin McCauley anytime soon. The only thing that beats Moses is inexperience. Frank knows if McCauley takes him into the later rounds, there is unanswered questions. He will continue to build the Kent man for the next 2 to 3 years. Although I don't understand why they haven't let him go the British Commonwealth and European route. There's fighters there who would have given him good rounds. When you skip those levels, you run the risk of not gaining the experience you need when you reach world level." Hashtag Fight Club 247, hashtag boxing, hashtag fighter champion, and hashtag for the fans. And let me counterpunch. Absolutely right. I mean, 100% spot on. I think Frank blasting Billy Nelson and Martin McCauley by calling Martin McCauley too slow, you know that was all cap. As you guys seen the video that I posted of Frank stating his opinion about Martin McCauley. He said those things about him, but he said it for a reason. He said that Martin McCauley's slow and he's not interested in someone like that. That's his way of saying, I'm not going to put my fighter in there with that guy. You know what I mean? Because there's other reasons that he doesn't want him to fight Martin McCauley, because Martin McCauley is like exactly what Fight Club 247 said. He's one of those guys that'll bring you in rounds that it's unfamiliar to Moses Itauma. That's why Moses Itauma himself wants those rounds. He wants that experience. You know what I mean? And you would be a fool, Wilder, to think that I'm ready for a particular situation that I'm not ready for. You know what I mean? That's all ego and bravado and all that other stuff that thinks I can do it without ever doing it. That makes no sense. That's not logical. You see what I mean? So at that end of the day, it's a good way to carry, not carry, but move Moses the way he needs to move. You know what I mean? Moses didn't part the Red Sea in one day. It took levels and things to happen, to things to occur, okay? If we want to get biblical here, for things to happen and manifest before he was able to do those particular things. I think the same for this young man here, because at the end of the day, Moses Itauma is a guy that could be pushed along too soon. We've seen that shit so many times in the sport of boxing. You know what I mean? Should I give you examples? It happens all the time. Look at Adrian Broner. You think Adrian Broner, was ready for what he was doing? No, he wasn't. He was moved along too fast. And people thought that Floyd, Money Mayweather was actually hating. He probably was, but it was true. Maybe he was doing a little thing. He was doing things too fast. And he paid the price eventually, and he was never, ever the same. Anthony Joshua, okay? They pushed this man through and through and through. And to ask yourself a question, was he a part of the Commonwealth and European route? Was he now? You know what I mean? Because, yeah, he was knocking guys out, but he was rapidly being moved along. You know what I mean? And then all of a sudden, we see him at Wembley breaking records against the old king, Vladimir Klitschko, right? And things looked like they were going well until he got in a situation that was unfamiliar. Boom, getting hurt the way he was hurt in a situation that he was in there with a fighter that he's never been in. And he was in a situation that he's never been in. And the rest is history. You know what I mean? There's more and more. We don't want Moses to go down that same route. We don't. We don't need him to go down that same route. We need him to be carried and progress the right way at the right rate. So shout out to Fight Club 247 for that. But it also shows you the true motive and the true intention of Frank Warren. And Frank Warren is very good at what he does. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and this is how you get good at doing what you do. You make mistakes, you know? And look where Daniel Dubois is. He didn't give up on Daniel Dubois. You know, shout out to Frank Warren. He didn't give up on him. You know, even though he gave him a lot of chances, but he got him in situations where he needed to be. Even when he quit, you know, they justified that by the breakage of the orbital bone. But at the end of the day, you know, it was things that it was times that Daniel Dubois showed weakness. You know what I mean? But Frank still stayed with his fighter, so that's admirable. You know what I mean? To say the least. You know, but look where he's at now. He's fighting for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world in July against Alexander Usyk, the king of the heavyweight division. So, you know, that's a good promoter to get his fighter where he needs to be. And I think he's going to do the same for Moses Itauma. But you guys tell me what you think of Fight Club 247. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been Counterpunch.